Sublime magnificence.
Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent big up to himself, Omari Ellis Feo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host and runner mate, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hey Omari, thank you for having me back as always. I love being here. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things that we do here on this channel. Trading stuff back and forth, media, movies, TV, otherwise. I love being forced into something and I love making you watch something as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this week, we are forced to watch the world deal with something it's forced to deal with. Being a giant asteroid, we are dealing with Armageddon.
Armageddon from 1998, rated PG-13, after discovering that an asteroid the size of Texas will impact Earth in less than a month. NASA recruits a misfit team of deep core drillers to save the planet. It is directed, of course, by Michael Bay. It is written by Jonathan Hensley, J.J. Abrams, and Tony Gilroy, and it stars Bruce Willis, Billy Bob Thornton, Ben Affleck, Liv Tyler, so many more. This is a big ensemble cast. Um, Behind the scenes on this movie, why I picked it. Uh, Spoiler alert: we record these in advance. Um, and this one was recorded around the time of 4th of July. And we
Uh,
were I was doing the mental math on when I was going to be watching whatever I selected because it was my turn to select. And I was trying to figure out when I was like, all right, well, it's either gonna end up being I either need to watch it either 4th of July or the 5th of July. And I was thinking about doing another movie in relation to some of the films we've done recently. And then I was thinking about the timing of everything. It's like, you know what? Just recently, we talked about another movie that Omari hadn't seen that I added to the list. For some reason, that movie just feels more like a 4th of July movie than this one. So let's do that one. So that's kind of why I picked Armageddon. My
Gotcha.
question to you is, you haven't seen Armageddon?
No, I hadn't. Speaking of our previous episodes, dude, you mentioned Apocalypse Now. I kind of joked around with Don't Close My Eyes. I hadn't seen either of those, but I was familiar with the parodies and stuff. I think I wanted to see Armageddon via like the trailers and stuff when I was younger. Never got around to it. But I also don't know what kind of reputation the movie has. Like if it's known as a good movie or bad movie. I feel like I've heard people ribbon on it more than I've heard them praising it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those things of like, oh, if it's not a good movie, then I'll get around to watching it maybe. I didn't know it was Michael Bay. I somehow missed that name in all the names I saw on the screen. I think I probably just saw the Jerry Bruckheimer thing and assumed it was him involved. But that explains a lot. When you said, of course, by Michael Bay, that does explain a lot about the movie, in and of itself.
Yeah.
But uh, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was considered good because so I was like, is it even
Well,
worth watching?
I mean, it's. I think. Would you want me to answer any of those
Yeah, you
questions?
can.
So I would say from my perspective, I think this is looked at by the general public as a great popcorn movie.
Okay.
but I think it is also looked at by the general public as a obviously tremendously ridiculous premise that has been joked about ad nauseum. Um, uh, so those I believe that those two things can exist at the same time within the
Yeah,
general public's consciousness, because you also have people that are just, you know,
yeah, like stupid premise,
a little bit more empty, that just love it
stupid
because it's big
premises.
explosions and it's
Yeah,
Bruce
I'm
Willis and
about to
it's
say,
space
stupid
and
premises make good popcorn movies. You're not
yeah,
supposed to think a lot.
yeah.
Oh, my heart will stop if I don't stop moving. Oh, that's a silly premise.
I
Oh well,
mean,
Crank, I fucking
so
love it.
Michael Bay is an extremely well-known director. And
Yes.
I brought this up while I was watching the film with my 4th of July crew the other day, and uh I posited, is this the best Michael Bay movie? Because you have you have a surprisingly few number of actual directorial films by Michael Bay. You have his original, his debut in
The
Bad
Rock.
Boys,
Oh, Bad Boys. Okay.
and then you have The Rock, and then you have this film, and then you have the post Michael Bay. The shine has worn off, and so now he's going to make Pearl Harbor, which is known to not be that good, but it was a spectacle and it earned a lot of money.
Pearl
But
Harbor
in
also had Affleck, didn't it?
yes,
Okay.
it's known in hindsight to be not that great. um then you have the Transformers series, which some could make arguments for the first one, and I
Oh,
would
Bad
maybe
Boys
entertain it.
2 is in there as well, ain't it?
Bad Boys 2 is also mixed in there. I don't know if he did 3. I don't think he did.
Well,
But he did do 2, and that's in there somewhere. I'm not sure if that's right after Transformers or right before it.
well, I had always heard, well, Bad Boys 2, we were still in high school, pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Uh, but I had always heard Bad Boy 2 argued by people as the last good Michael Bay film or his best film as opposed to everything else. Even in their bashing of it, they're like, at least he did Bad Boys 2. He ain't done since Bad Boys 2 type stuff. So that's all the
Yeah,
reason I brought that up.
we have Bad Boys, The Rock, Armageddon, Pearl Harbor, Bad Boys 2. And then yeah, the one I didn't even mention, The Island, which is looked at not fondly. Then he did the first Transformers, which I could say, maybe the original Transformers is
Yeah.
in there on his good side. It's that's personal taste, I would say. But then you have the second Transformers, and then the third Transformers, and then the fourth Transformers. You have The Rock and Mark Wahlberg's Pain and Gain, which really wasn't my thing. I don't know. Then you have the fifth Transformers. Um, I, and he directed all of them.
Yeah. No. Like, I think this might be his best film. It's either that or Bad Boys 2 for me. Uh
For me, it's either this one or the first Bad Boys.
Also very fair.
I would say, oddly enough, the highest rated one on IMDb using their 10-star system is The Rock with 7.4 stars. So I may need to rewatch The Rock at some point.
Maybe. No.
Boy, we went a deep dive on Michael Bay. Armageddon, Omari. You knew about the Aerosmith song. You didn't know that Michael Bay was in it. Did you know that it was a Bruce Willis film?
Yes and no. I
Okay.
all like I saw the like whenever I saw the poster getting ready to watch this, I'm like, oh yeah, Bruce Willis is in this. I knew about the Liv Tyler thing because I think we had discussed that song on some previous occasion and it being used a lot in the movie and involved Steven Tyler's daughter. And But as far as what I was expected, a meteor and Aerosmith. That was about what I was expecting. I didn't expect like 80% of the star-studded cast this movie had. Your Billy Bob Thorntons, your Michael Clark Duncans, your Steve Buscemi's. I knew about Affleck, Willis, and Liv Tyler by association. Everybody else was just kind of, I'll see him in the movie.
Owen Wilson,
Owen Wilson,
Keith David.
Keith David. That was one of the first notes I put in here. It was like all caps, Keith David. But yeah, that Keith David's in the movie. So many people. I'm like, damn, I did not realize. Even I think his name's Will Patton. I don't know what I know him from, but that motherfucker's in a lot of things. I'm familiar with his face. Chick Charles or whatever the fuck his name was in the movie. It's like I think his name's
Oh
Will
yeah.
Patton. Like I've seen him in a bunch of shit too, so I knew he was a deal.
No, like everybody, the mathematician from NASA, who
Yeah, it was like
who figured out how to
yeah.
how to
I went to
that you
school with your
that you
guy.
had to drill into the
Yeah,
asteroid.
he's like, I went to school with your guy. He got a C in astrophysics. I wouldn't listen to him. That motherfucker.
Yeah. He's Jason Isaac, who who was just Lucius Malfoy in the entire Harry Potter series, and has played a bunch of stuff. Is a giant voice actor in the animated world. Yeah, so every part of this movie is cast with either a humongous name or somebody who's going to be a big name very, very soon. Oh, Eddie Griffin.
Yeah, Eddie Griffin
Eddie
was in the
Griffin,
movie.
random 2-minute cameo. I don't even know if you could call it a cameo if like you're not a star yet. And it just happened. You just is like Michael Bay probably found you funny in your stand-up and was like, do you want to be in a movie?
Yeah. So
Yeah. Just I mean, this movie is just kind of a standout moment movie if we want
yeah,
to just start
pretty much, yeah, just
start
going in
spitting
there.
out standout moments.
Yeah, I will say I thought it was funny well, not funny. I guess the first standout moment I had listed was the dude talking to the guy in space, literally just working on his thing, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Calm down, man, calm down, Pete, and you're gonna be okay. Just change out the chip." And dead. Like what the? And then like everybody else just starts dying on the street. I felt we see Eddie Griffin and stuff, and his dog starts yelling at the Godzilla guy with his statues. He dies. I'm like, poor Godzilla man, and the whole like New York City.
Yeah.
I thought the dog was dead too, but the dog turned out okay, so that's fine.
They do not kill the dog. But yes, that opening scene is to establish like this is going to be that movie. This is going to be that movie. We're not going to pull punches. You
Which
might
is all
see one of the most populous cities in the world get destroyed in this film.
which is what I said earlier. That explains a lot with Michael Bay. Amongst his reputation is he likes explosions, which I always like. Why is that a criticism? Do you not like explosions? Uh, but yes, I'm like, well, that explains a lot. There's shit tons of explosions in this movie, and I can see why his reputation would be Michael Bay presents explosions.
Explosions and upward angled 360 spins.
Yes, a lot of those.
Michael Bay.
Yeah. So that was cool. I thought it was funny when the old man called NASA and was like, the person who discovers this meteor gets to name it, right? Yeah. I want to name her Dottie. There's a life venomous sucking in the roof. I also love that they actually name it Dottie. Like they don't say it on the news or nothing. It's just later he gets the text and it's Dottie's gone public. I'm like, wow, they actually did name it Dottie. That's great.
Yeah, I think that is really the rule that if you were the first to spot it in space, you get to name it.
That's awesome. But yeah, uh, they had the big oil. We were meeting our characters. They're on the oil rig and all the stuff. Affleck sleeping with the boss's daughter. I'm like, of course you are. You're just asking for asking for some drama with that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I put the boss's daughter, Ben. Really?
Uh-huh.
But yeah. Anyway, they had the big oil rig thing. I thought Michael Clark Duncan was gonna die when the things were going wrong, and he's like yelling at him, That's why you don't fuck up." And I'm like, "No, not Michael Clark Duncan. It's too early." But it's like, "Oh no, he's good. Everybody's cool. We're fine." But yeah, fast forward a bit, they go, "Oh, we gotta drill." Like you said, the MIT guys like, you can't just shoot something at this asteroid the size of Texas. It's just not gonna do anything. You gotta drill into it. So we're gonna get the best guy we know for the job, an oil driller from around the planet. Okay, sure. But the like little
I've
montage.
always remembered that metaphor and like and love that metaphor of like, yeah, you light a firecracker in your hand, it pops, and you're like, ah, my hand. But you close that fist around that same firecracker, no more hand. It's like, yeah, it's a solid metaphor.
Yeah. Like exactly. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. If you're going to have a movie with a silly premise, at least make some sense out of it, I guess. As much sense as you can. So they did that, and you get the montage of him assembling his team. Like we've already met them, but now we're meeting them. Because it's like, all right, we got this guy, fucking Bear, Michael Clark Duncan riding on a motorcycle, sees the cops go, just like leads them on a fucking highway chase. Get me! Which is fun because you don't often get to see happy Michael Clark Duncan in things.
Right.
He's usually really angry and intimidating looking, or really fucking sad and depressed, like in the Green Mile. Like, it's good to see happy Michael Clark Duncan. So yeah, he was like, fucking Steve Buscemi out here. They're like, we call him a rock hound because he's horny all the time. Fucking other people as well. So that was really cool. Like the little montage they had to get ready going, as well as the psych reviews. Speaking of
Oh
Buscemi,
yes.
speaking of Buscemi, just like big whoop, I saw the Rubik's cube. Like I did this, that, the other. Think I want to be here? You think I care about any of this? Nah, I just did it because they asked me. I can care less about all this stuff.
Like, why
Meanwhile,
do I do what I do? Because the location changes, the pay is good, and they let me use explosives. Yeah, I think that's the first. Like we've heard. I think in the lead up to when they're telling the NASA guys which men they want, which I love that scene where they're all just getting rounded up. And they describe Buscemi as just like as like the smartest man they've met or something like that. But that is the first establishing of like,
oh
no, this
no,
dude is a freak level genius that will come into play a little bit later.
yeah.
But yeah, he's a weird character. My goodness. He's just Buscemi. Buscemi is always,
Like that's the
whenever you see that he's in the movie, it's just like, all
like
right.
that is the career that I would not be upset with having at all. Just I'm the memorable part of all of these fucking movies and stuff. Like
Hmm.
hi, it's that guy. uh but yeah, like that. Also the dude that was like, if we just take this fucking thing off the table. Okay, I don't like this situation. What don't you like about it? Get it off the table. So I like that whole little thing. It brought some levity to the whole situation. I will say, for this to be a 2.5 hour movie, though a couple of times I'm like, wow, we still got this much left. It didn't feel like it dragged on too much for me until
Yeah,
like it
I
did.
think the end game has a little bit of a problem with every single step in the mission needs an obstacle inserted in front of it.
That
If
is
the
where it
next step,
dragged, but early on.
if the next step was to walk over and push a button, they were going to put an obstacle in front of the main character and that button.
A hole would
Like,
appear in the ground and you lodge his foot or something. Like,
yeah,
oh
like
my
that's
God.
like yeah. All right, you'd think that the next step was get in the vehicle and drive away, but like no, actually the first step of getting in a vehicle, as we all know, is opening the door. So we need to have an obstacle to even just opening the door, and then we would have to have an obstacle for them starting the vehicle, and then we'd have to have an obstacle of them beginning to move,
Or even
and
fix
like
the starting of the vehicle. It's like, oh my goodness,
yeah,
what are we
it's
doing?
there comes a point where it's just you get to a point where you're like, I just want to see him get it done.
Yeah, how much more can
Just
go
stop
wrong?
throwing a new introductory challenge in their way that you had not teased before. Just all of a sudden a meteor shower. Like, this-
I
like
will agree.
by the time Affleck's crew arrives, that should be the big release of the film. And then you get the moment where they have the realization that somebody has to manually trigger it. And then they fly off, and then Bruce Willis hits the button. I don't need that Bruce Willis challenge of him like it hard for him to hit the button. I'm perfectly okay with them having a hard takeoff and them having a difficult, are we going to get away from the blast radius? Um, and Bruce Willis
But
waiting as long as he possibly can
we gotta
to
climb
support
down
them.
there to unclog the bent pipe. We gotta do the fucking extra gas pocket thing. Steve Buscemi's just gotta randomly go stupid and start shooting a Gatling gun for no reason. Like, I
Yeah,
will give you that. Like the latter part of this movie, but like early on, it was moving pretty fine. But like you said,
absolutely.
them extra obstacles. It's like, come on, man, what are we doing?
And yeah, I love like Michael Bay is super stylized. And I can understand you either loving it or hating it. He comes from the music video world where everything is shiny and lit in golden hour, and you get and there's those smooth camera movements and a lot
Yeah,
of record drop moments and a lot of things kind of set to music. um it's extremely stylized, but I really like it in this film. Like just your an ordinary scene of Liv Tyler talking to Bruce Willis before it's not an ordinary scene because he's about ready to go into space, but just a scene of the two of them talking becomes something so grand because it's set under the old Apollo 1 launch pad, and there's all of those stylized spins, and both of them are somehow perfectly lit in the face in golden hour lighting, even though they're facing each other, and the lights shouldn't work like that, but it's okay because they're both so pretty. And it's just, if you accept it, it's great.
yeah. I'll give you that. Like, I did like a lot of the cinematography in this movie. Um, I and yeah, the early parts, like I said, they had to get a lot of information in here, like who are these people, who's our main party, and so and so. And they did it at a reasonable enough pace, and we at least had the little breakups with levity and stuff. The fucking physical tests where they're like, maybe lay off the pork rinds. Pork rinds? I'll show you pork rinds. Pork rinds. And he just starts flexing all on everybody. Look at these pork rinds. Like, what the hell's going on in here? Fucking Bushimi going to a strip club, just being like, "Oh, we got the day off. Let me go loan for $100,000 and take it to the strip club with the
He's convinced they
boys."
are not coming back.
Which I mean, that is one way to look at it. Like, hey, you know what? If I die, I die. If I come back, I'm a hero at least, and maybe we deal with that when it happens.
Yeah,
I
maybe
could
they
probably
forgive
turn,
all this.
yeah, maybe turn it into like an endorsement deal or some shit. And
Yeah.
here's your money. uh He's smart enough to figure something out.
Yeah.
Anyway, the strip club fight was like, "What are you doing?" Yeah. You ain't. I thought they'd at least like get in trouble for that. Like when they came back to the bench, was like, what the? I was expecting one of those scenes like, we hired you for a so and so position. So. You gonna do this? None of that. Even better. We just kind of gloss over that and get the movie moving.
Mhm.
And then yeah,
I mean that's because that role would have had to fallen onto Billy Bob Thornton's character's plate, and he's not really that kind of leader,
also true.
that kind of guy. He's not the death slamming. What are you doing? Look, we're trying to save the planet here. He I don't know. He's more of like an off-camera side
Yeah.
joke about them, like, and that would segue me into mentioning that I really like what Billy Bob Thornton does in this movie. He's really good in it.
I liked his scene where it was him and Bruce having that heart to heart where he's like, I always wanted to go to space myself. I got an injury to my foot and all of that
Mhm.
stuff with his little backstory drop there. And him just being like, I'd be up there with you if I could. Always wanted a mission patch or whatever, dropping that line. And that was a nice amount of character work between the two
Yeah.
of them. I liked a lot of the acting in the movie in general, to be fair. But yeah, eventually we get our stereotypical American speech to the world, speaking of Independence Day type things. I feel like we're the only country that does this, that makes our movies about us saving the rest of the world. And the rest of the world being thankful and like, yes, America, you saved us. Not even just we saved the world and they don't know. Just, no, we saved the world and we're letting you know because we're America. Freedom, independence. We named our spaceships the Freedom and Independence because that's our branding. No country does branding like America does. That's what I will say. We know branding if we know nothing else.
This is true.
This
This is true.
So,
but in reality, if this situation were to occur, it lines up pretty accurately. I mean, we are the country with these kind of resources already established to respond in a meaningful way, potentially. And I would imagine the science and research level of it towards the beginning of the film of like there's only 8
yeah.
telescopes in the world that can see this and we control 6 of them. I wouldn't be shocked if that's pretty accurate on
Also
some
true.
level, because it's just nobody really touches NASA as far as space program goes. Like Russia and China maybe secretly on some sort of level.
But what they let us know, they're not.
Right. So
Gotcha.
I mean, but either way, yes, it is still extremely American of a thing to be
Yeah.
like, yes, there's a coalition of the world's countries coming to America to help us do this.
America. America. Like that's what it is. But and that movie made fun of Pearl Harbor and Michael Bay. Anyway, they go to space. We finally get the launch. Fucking Ben Affleck proposes to Liv Tyler. We get the song for the first time. Don't close my eyes. Don't
Academy Award song.
fall asleep. It won an Academy Award. Of course it did. And then we go to space. They meet the Russian dude, Lev. This guy, whole character in and of himself. Just he's like, hey, he's been in space alone for the past 18 months. Maybe a little off his rocker. This is Russian jet. You come in the board. But yeah, and they have the whole speaking of everything needing to have its obstacles in it, just the fucking fuel pods exploding and stuff, which whatever, it's the first big obstacle in space. I'm not tripping off of it happening, but it is one of the many obstacles that would follow. But as a result of it, Lev travels with us. Then we get to the asteroid, mini asteroid shower, like you said. destroying the fucking ship, the death of the Independence ship, and we
Hmm.
lose a couple of our people in that.
Several people.
Yeah, we lose several people in that, and the other thing gets pushed off course and lands, which where Buscemi's line of "You landed us 25 miles away from our landing point. We're in Quadrant D or whatever." How do you know? I'm a genius, jackass. And,
Yeah.
and that
Landed them directly on an iron plate.
to make it even harder for them to do the job. So yeah, now they landed on an iron plate, and this dude misses the landing, and he's like blaming Harry for everything. Like, I brought you people out here. You know how many people even buzz off on this thing? You're the worst mistake NASA's ever made. Motherfucker, you landed us wrong. You're the trained astronaut.
Yeah, that was your job.
Yeah. I was like, I can't wait for this dude to die. Also, meanwhile, fucking Affleck, Bear, and Lev survive, and they get in the car, start driving across the planet. I was laughing at one of his things. Was like, "This is how we do things where I'm from," and he presses a button and starts firing a Gatling gun. I'm like, "Of course, this is how we do things in America." Branding, America style. So yeah, so he does that. Now, meanwhile, back home, the president does what every president does in fiction when we have these kind of things. He decides to go, fuck it, nuke it, blow the nuke beforehand and kill everybody. I don't give a damn. It's like every fictional president that doesn't have a like actual face on screen in these things has to go, fuck the mission, nuke them all, kill it. That won't even work. Do it on the president. Every time. I love the country. Presidents don't have as good a reputation as the country does. Real life fiction, what's what these days? Bottom line is they have to stop the nuke. So here's another thing another obstacle of ours, but eventually Bruce Willis does convince Commander Sharp to help him deactivate the bomb and believe in the mission. And that's a cool moment or whatever. It's like, you never good dig a hole. Not in my 30 years of working. We can do this. Okay. And then we have Rockhound going stupid for no reason with the fucking plot inconvenient Gatling gun of his own. Oh, this is cool. Oh, he's got space dementia.
I love a quick zoom in. He's got space dementia.
Okay, sure. Meanwhile, you got fucking. You ever see? Do you know who Evil Knievel is? I don't watch Star Wars. Got the Evil Knievel jump over the fucking thing. Just
Which again, inside itself needs another obstacle.
Yep, you gotta
the thing itself. The obstacle is not enough of an obstacle. We need an obstacle inside of overcoming the obstacle.
Hey, we can't just jump over the Grand Canyon of the asteroid. There has to be an unavoidable asteroid mid-air that we're colliding with and barely surviving the landing.
And the Russian has to literally exit the vehicle.
Oh yeah,
while it's still flying and defrost the things.
And he's like dangling and shit.
Yeah. That's where the end starts to get a little much for me, where me as a viewer is just kind of starting to get overwhelmed with frustration a little bit of just like, I need you to finish this. And particularly in a rewatch when that when that happens, like, and you know that the big payoff is the teams rejoining again. And like maybe even at this point have they lost big guy?
I think they did.
And the main vehicle.
Yeah.
So that the big payoff is going to be Ben Affleck reuniting with Bruce Willis. And in the rewatch, knowing that there's still so many other things that you don't even know about yet that they're going to have to deal with. It's just like, ah!
Oh my goodness. How many how many times we got to cut to them telling the world we failed?
Right. Which, I mean, even though like I'm a sucker. I'm a fucking sucker. I'm a sap, and I am a dupe.
Yep.
Because there's so many parts in this movie, even though I've seen it a million times,
Call
I
me
are
Warren, because
gonna,
I'm a sap too.
yeah. I mean, you do the math equation. If you do the right math equation, it equals me welling up. Like, because it's the math equation. And I didn't, this is like
Yeah, that it was very, yeah, there were a lot of emotional moments and stuff in this movie.
chick with his former wife and son, and
Hey
that
mom, the
whole
salesman's on TV.
oh,
Salesman.
oh,
That's your daddy.
it's so much.
I do feel like as you get older, like people talk about parental instincts and stuff. While I don't want kids, I do see moments like I'm more empathetic for people with their like having their moments like I get to see my kid for the first time in all these years. And I'm like, wow, I actually damn, yeah, it's fucked up. Or it's like, oh, that's gotta feel great type shit. The empathetic level of things as I've gotten older, my catharsis, if you will, has
Mm.
gotten stronger with these things. And yeah, they do finally make up and get with everybody. And I'm like, okay, let's send it home, kind of like you say. And then it's like, oh, well, we hit another gas pocket. Oh, okay. Well, now we got to keep drilling because earlier we mentioned that Affleck has a problem where he wants to drill as hard as possible. And the old dude's like, sometimes you got to back off. No, I got to keep going. Fuck it, we'll keep going. And, okay, cool. Problem solved. No, Affleck, you got to climb in there and dig out the bent pipe. There's a bent pipe down there. Okay. Oh shit, there's a gas pocket while you're down there doing that. Oh shit. Okay, we're all good. Just gotta drop the bomb in there. Can't detonate the bomb. Just fucking saw it. Fine. Bruce Willis, or we decide who stays back. Bruce Willis stayed back. Everybody go. Thrusters don't work. Okay. Got the thrusters fixed? Cool. Why is the bomb not exploding? Bruce Willis fell down a hole and dropped the bomb trigger on the top of it. What? How many countdowns and shit do I have to see in this goddamn movie? Finally does it though. Hits it right before the zero barrier. Beautiful shot of the sky, like there's people looking up and like a nuke from Earth. That's cool. A nuke as viewed from planet Earth. So that was cool. You get the happy moment where everybody's landing and stuff. Get the fucking song and the marriage montage. Oh yeah, marriage montages. Those probably hit you a lot harder nowadays too, considering that you've been through
I
a
mean,
marriage.
I mean, yeah, that's a that's that's not necessarily part of my equation as far as
No,
watching stuff, and
I'm not
but
saying it's
yeah.
part of the equation, but and I'm not saying you're gonna go to tears, but they probably hit you harder
Oh
than
yeah,
they
of
did
course.
because of the memories. Like, yes,
Absolutely,
cool.
absolutely, absolutely.
That's all I was saying.
Mhm.
But yeah, shit. Anything else that popped up in the movie that you want to mention or say?
No, I
We
think we
covered a
covered a good
lot.
chunk of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, this is one of those movies. Like you don't like I'm not going to go to my local cinephile and be like unless I want to have that conversation, I'm not going to go to my coworker who I've referred to before, who is like my movie chatter guy, because he is a cinephile guy. He is a guy who has not watched a single Keanu Reeves movie since Bram Stoker's Dracula, because Keanu Reeves ruined Bram Stoker's Dracula for him. Um, and he just doesn't believe that Keanu Reeves is a good actor and doesn't deserve movies. So thus, because of his personal rule, has not seen The Matrix, has not seen John Wick. But those aren't his type of movies.
Yeah.
But every once in a while he surprises me. Like I found out he's into the Mission Impossible series with Tom Cruise. Not a big Tom Cruise guy, but watches the Mission Impossible movies.
How the
So it's always
okay.
weird. Like with him, it
Yeah.
would be something where I'd like, so Tom, last night watched watched Armageddon. And then I'm either getting Armageddon, man. Or it's a like kind of face. And like, well, why are you watching that? Because people like it's a popcorn movie, as we talked about. It is a summer blockbuster. It's a spectacle. You're
Yeah.
supposed to
And
you're
as
supposed
we've
to see
covered on this
Bruce Willis
channel,
in
those
space.
are my kind of movies anyway. So yeah, I'm happy that I saw it.
Nice.
To sum up, like, how do I feel about it? I thought it was great. Well, no, fuck it. I thought it was great. Damn it. Nah, because I did like the acting in the movie. I don't have any problems with the acting in the movie. Don't have any problems with the explosions and stuff. Obviously, I'm an explosion fan. Look, I talk about American branded. I'm proud to be an American as far as the branding goes. All that, yeah. Well, maybe not all the stuff, but you get my point. Yes, I like the movie.
Excellent,
How about you,
excellent,
Bill?
excellent. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, yeah, no, I liked it. I'm glad we had the opportunity. I inserted that other thing I was gonna view into my back pocket for another day. So we'll just pull that out later. Otherwise, I enjoyed pulling this one out. It was a great. It felt appropriate for 4th of July. It kind of brought up a list of like 5 other movies of this kind of vibe that I want to watch here recently. So that'll be good. That'll be good.
All right. All right. Well, there you have it. That was Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Yes. So, we haven't talked about what we're watching next week. I think I got a title for you.
Okay.
Girl Who Leapt Through Time. It's an anime movie. Yeah, do that.
From the same director of Summer Wars?
Not sure, but it's
Okay.
it's around that time period or whatever. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
I'm excited for it.
All right. Well, thank you guys. And if you want to catch more of us, well, we got stuff going on throughout the week almost at this point. On Mondays, we got Mock to Draft. It's a show where Bill and I talk about various things, draft some things, make up various teams out of whatever we just want to do. It's fun. Did I say where Amari and I? Where Bill and
No, I
I.
think you said we're Bill and I.
Oh, okay. It's a show where Bill and I just draft
think.
various things. Also, obviously, Tuesdays you have this show. Wednesdays we have the Whatever We Want podcast with me and a good friend of mine, good friend of the show, Super Jazz.
Super Jazz.
Thank you very much. As nature intended, we do just that, talk about whatever we want. And on Saturdays, Bill and I have You Don't Watch Sports right here on the Fail Grande YouTube network. I also have a Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in. Stop on by. Bill, you got anything you want to say to the folks?
No.
All right. See you next week. Adios. Ah.